Welcome back to my channel. Happy Halloween. It is October 31st, and today I thought it would be a great idea to share with you all this fun project I actually had to present in one of my classes. So this presentation is basically on the mysterious mathematical cases of zero. So before we get started, I just wanna start by explaining like what inspired me to make this presentation about the mysterious mathematical cases of zero. As you all might know, there are a lot of rules in math surrounding the number zero. And a big question that I always have is why? Why is that the case? So in this presentation, I'm going to be solving these mysterious mathematical cases of zero. I have 3 different cases that I'm going to be going over. So without further ado, let's get straight into this presentation. Case number 1. So for case number 1, the first zero rule that we have is any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. So let's look further into this and let's go ahead and figure out why this is a rule. We're going to be figuring out why any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. This is going to be my first proof. So I decided to illustrate an example, and in this example I'm using 5 raised to the power of 0, which is 1, as we know, but again, we have to figure out why. So in this example, I have, starting reading it from top to bottom, 5 squared, then 5 raised to the power of 1, then 5 raised to the power of 0, then 5 raised to the power of -1, and then 5 raised to the power of -2. If I go through and solve every exponent that we have listed on the left side of these examples, we get answers which I have in orange. And so if I'm reading from bottom to top, we covered 1 over 25, but then we get 1 over 5, and then 1, 5, 25. There's a pattern here. So as we see, I wrote times 5 with an arrow going up on the far right side of all of this. And so basically what I'm trying to illustrate or portray is the fact that with these exponents, when we solve these exponents and we get the product from these exponents, so again, 5 raised to the power of -2 ultimately is 1 over 25, 5 raised to the power of -1 is 1 over 5, 5 raised to the power of 0 is 1, 5 raised to the power of 1 is 5, and 5 squared is 25. So if we look at the products of all of this, we see that there's a pattern. When we multiply by 5, we get the next answer. So 1 over 25 times 5 is 1/5, and then 1/5 times 5 is 1, and then 1 times 5 is 5, and 5 times 5 is 25. So we see this pattern, and honestly, this is just an example. So if I wanted to use another number like 2, for instance, or 6 or 9, I could do the same thing. But for this example, I'm specifically using 5. So anyway, as I touched on earlier, there is a pattern here. And through this pattern, we can clearly see why any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. So our next case is the 0 rule. Any number multiplied by 0 is 0. Look at our second proof and figure out why. Why is any number multiplied by 0 0? So this is a bit more straightforward. And for this example, I'll also be using the number 5, but this time I'm going to multiply 5 by 2. So in this first example, I have 5 times 2. And right under that, I wrote a little note. And basically it says multiplication equals or is the same thing as consecutive addition. And consecutive addition is just adding the same thing over and over and over again. So whenever you think about multiplication, you can sort of align that with addition. They in many ways go hand in hand. So if I have 5 times 2, that is the same thing as writing 2 5 times, but adding it. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is equivalent to 5 times 2, because in both problems we get 10. So therefore, if I were to multiply 5 times 0 and I add 0 to itself 5 times, I get 0. And that is one way we can reason or understand why any number multiplied by 0 is 0. For my last case, my third case, the third zero rule that we are going to be covering is 0 divided by any number is 0. And so we want to figure out why. Why is 0 divided by any number 0? And so this kind of ties back into the second case, which is any number multiplied by 0 is 0. So if any number multiplied by 0 is 0, then 0 divided by any number is also 0. All right, now that we have finally solved these mysterious mathematical cases of 0, have a spooky Halloween, and thanks so much for watching.